If you follow a logical plan, you make money. If you try to freestyle, you stay broke forever. Take it from me. Most of you will think that you have a very special circumstance, that you're super unique and you have all these problems that no one can understand, and that's why it's extremely impossible and difficult for you to make money. It's not. The reason you cannot make money consistently is because you are inconsistent. Every time you go against any type of proven plan, bad things happen and you remain broke. So I need you to not be dumb and just listen to this extremely logical, step by step plan that I'm going to lay out over this entire boot camp. And all you need to do is actually stick to it. Okay? If you do not stick to this, please just click off this video and don't watch it. Please, just don't. Don't continue watching this boot camp. The reason I'm making this boot camp, by the way, is because me last year in November, I was incredibly depressed, very anxious. My parents wanted me to be a doctor, right? And then I quickly realized if I want to be a doctor, I wanted to be a cardiologist, a consultant. And I quickly realized if I was to be a consultant in the UK, only after 10, 15, maybe 20 years of practicing, I'd be able to make £94,000 a year. First of all, that's not even six figures. And I'd have to work around the clock just to say I'm a heart doctor that makes less than six figures a year. Even if I moved countries, I'd be making $500,000 a year in the US or something. But it'd take me 15 years to get there. That, coupled with the fact that I wasn't very good at school. Like, I was great up until GCSEs, which is like high school, if you're in the US or Canada. And then I very quickly realized my A levels, like my college, I think, that didn't go to plan. I got C's and D's, right? I went to university, I stopped trying because I got into a degree called biomedical science at Sheffield Hallam University. And I was just not good. I didn't understand anything, right? What I did know was that I was an insecure piece of fucking shit during sixth form. And I'd say my first 3 months of uni, until I realized I had to completely redefine and reinvent myself and become a brand new person because I was just so depressed of who I was. I had no money. I got no attention from anyone. During sixth form, no one fucked with me really, right? I was so depressed. So depressed. I do not want anyone to go through anything that I went through. And I'm not even going to say too much about the things I've gone through my entire life because it's so sad. But what I do want to tell you who's going through something similar is that you think money is going to fix everything. And you're kind of right. It does a little bit. Because once you make a little bit of money, what happens is that you feel like you can start to do stuff. Like if I really wanted to, I could go to town or the city centre or the mall or whatever, like wherever you're living, whatever the term is. I could go and I could eat at a restaurant that I want to eat at. Right? Like if I really wanted to, I could go on holiday. Right? And I know if you were like me growing up, you probably didn't have the luxuries of going on big holidays. The only holidays I really went on were to India to visit family a couple times in my life, 3 times now I believe, and I went to Scotland a couple of times. No, I lied. I went to the US once. That was because I was also visiting family. But anyway, I didn't have the luxuries of going on holiday like that. My first proper holiday where I went with my friends, I was 19 or 20, and I went to Greece for 7 days, and that was it, right? And during those 7 days, I got a very small taste as to what enjoying life is. And I realized I cannot enjoy life without money, right? I already knew this from the start. Like, yes, when I make a little bit of money, I can move into, I don't know, Deansgate in Manchester. Like, I can move to a Miami penthouse, right? And then when I was super insecure, I also really wanted attention from girls. And you probably do as well, which is okay. It's okay. But you'll grow out of it because you'll realize that that doesn't do anything for you, right? So I wanted money, and this entire boot camp is to help you specifically to make you money because I know how depressing it is knowing your parents are on your ass all the time. You feel like an embarrassment and a failure. I know what it feels like to get so desperate to a point where you start cold calling, you start cold DMing businesses. Do you know how depressing that is, by the way? Like, you probably have tried it, right? You probably have tried cold DMs, cold calls, buying the courses and whatever. And when I was doing it, I listened to someone called Jordan Platten on YouTube. Didn't buy his course or anything like that. But I saw him live cold call someone and close a home renovation company for like £800, which is about $1,000 USD. And to me, that's a lot of money at the time. It was a fuck ton of money. I was like, yo, if I can just close one of those a month, I could at least pay my bills, right? And I tried it. I did exactly what I should have done. I went onto YouTube. Sorry, I went onto Google Maps, and I thought, you know what? Jordan Platten started targeting home renovation companies, and he found success. Why don't I just copy him and target home renovation companies? Guess what happened? I made a lead list of 50 to 100 home renovation companies in my area at the time. I used to live in Sheffield in the UK whilst I was there for university, third year uni. And I started calling up all these people. I called up 50 different businesses, right? And every single one of them said no. Every single one of them swore at me. Every single one of them were like rushing to get off the phone. And I'm not going to lie to you, I cried. Because when I called my 37th business, I believe, yeah, it was the 30th. I stopped at the 37th call because that was the one that killed me. At the 37th business, I got on the call with this one lady, and she told me, oh, she was busy, she hasn't got time, blah, 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 blah. And I said, okay, how about we set up a meeting for tomorrow at 12 p.m.? She said, okay, great, speak to you then. I called her the next day at 12 p.m. She picks up the phone. She's not in any type of rush. I remind her who I was. And she started rushing to get off the phone because she just did not want to speak with me. And I don't know what it was about that thing, but at that point was definitely my absolute lowest. Because at that point, I had I had to face the fact that I knew in my heart of hearts I could do more. I had a lot of potential within me. I had to deal with the fact that I had the potential, but the reality of the situation that I was in didn't show anything for it. Right? I had to deal with the fact that even though I was trying to put my best foot forwards with these cold calls, I was still getting shit on. Like at one point, I remember I called someone on a cold call, and they said to me, "Don't you dare fucking call me again. I'm on holiday, and you just ruined it." And they hung up on me. Like I don't know about you, but if you're already insecure and you're already sad, and you are trying your absolute hardest to just make something of yourself because you have this like feeling within you that you just want to be useful to people, and you get that response after genuinely just trying to be useful to someone, it destroys you, right? And some of you guys might not have tried cold calling. Some of you guys might not have tried it, but it's fucking traumatic, man. Right? After that point, I got desperate. I was like, "Fuck! Let me just start doing what these people that I'm watching online do. Let me start making content." Right? And then I fell into another trap. I started making content, and I started making content that was very deeply misaligned with what I wanted to do. I thought that I had to start getting views and stuff like that. So I started off with business content, talking about the books I'd recommend reading, about how I first learned marketing and things like that. Because at the time I'd read a few Russell Brunson books, which immediately put me ahead of like most people trying to get into the marketing agency space. But obviously it wasn't enough, right? So I started talking about the books I was reading. I'd got no views, and then one day, whilst I was working at Nando's, right, because that was my part-time job. Just so you know, by the way, how fucked my situation was. Not only did I have student loan and stuff like that, like the debts, I was. This was just last year, by the way. Like it's been less than a year. No, it's been exactly 1 year since I incorporated the business, by the way. Yeah. I remember that I remember going to Nando's, doing a close. So if you've if off a rip, if any of you guys know what a close is, if you work at a restaurant, that's where you just work till it closes. So like if it closes at 10 p.m., you stay a few extra hours to clean up the restaurant, like scrub, clean the toilets. Yes, I have cleaned so much shit out of toilets, unblocked toilets with crowbars. It's disgusting, by the way. I was working at Nando's and I came back. It was after a close, and I remember my feet were so sore from running around as a waiter all day. I was mentally just traumatized and defeated, and I felt like failure isn't even the word. Failure is not even the word. Like I didn't even feel like I felt worse than a failure, man. Like I felt disgusted. Like I felt so disgusting and just horrified of the place and situation I was in. Right? And then I know there's people out there that are like going through worse or went through worse. Like I understand. But when you're mentally defeated, where you're at a point where you are absolutely fucked, it's not a fun place to be in. So as I was walking home from Nando's, at this point I was already making content and I fell in the trap of like, oh, I need to get views. So I started making content that was completely misaligned and the complete opposite of who I truly wanted to be and just who I wanted to become. I started making content about my religion, and yes, my religion did save me, by the way. But I never wanted to be a preacher. So I started making a content about preaching and like my views on religion and stuff like that. And if I took it further, I definitely could have monetized it. But something about it didn't click with me. Like I just didn't like it. And it wasn't that I was completely unsuccessful. Like I think I got about 10,000 followers across two platforms. Um, and I reached way more than 1 million accounts in Account Center, which to some people that's a lot. To some people it's not a lot. I don't really care what you think about the views and stuff, because it's irrelevant to making money. And I will get to how to make money in this boot camp. By the way, I just need you to understand context, so you understand exactly what you need to do all of this, right? Anyway, I was making content. I came home, and oh no, I lied. No, at this point I wasn't making content. I misconstrued everything. I came back home from Nando's completely depressed because I was cold calling at this point, and um, sh- I was making shitty business content. That's what I was doing. I was making very crappy business content, right? I spoiled the story for you, my bad. I was making very crappy business content. I came back home, and what had happened was my feet was so destroyed and sore, and I felt like such a, again, worse than a failure. I felt so disgusted by the life I was living. Sat in this shitty fucking studio apartment. Um, my bedroom and kitchen were like right next to each other. Luckily, I had a TV that I never really used, and all I had was my laptop and on my bed. And I was like, "Fuck this! I'm not getting any more than 100 views." You know, sometimes I'd post a video and I would quite literally on TikTok get 3 views. Like the number of views would be 3 after a full day. It was so depressing. Like just imagine how that feels. Like imagine you're trying your absolute hardest with everything, right? Forget money, bro. No one's even looking at you. It's like it's borderline like being homeless, but like on the internet. You know, like imagine how it would feel being homeless and you're trying to ask for change or whatever, and people aren't even looking at you. Like imagine how dehumanizing that would feel. And it was kind of the same. Like obviously it's not as bad because physically blah blah blah, but mentally it felt the same. I'm not even gonna shit you, right? And at that point I started posting content and I was like, you know what? I listened to a shabad, which is like a religious hymn, and I said, and the shabad was Mado hum aise tum aisa, which means like I'm a sinner, I'm bad, and you're so great. And I don't know what happened, but I played it and I started bawling my fucking eyes out. Bro, I was bawling my eyes out and I was like, what have I done? Like I just felt so disgusted with myself. And then I posted my first bit of content about my religion, and that got about 4.5, 5,000 views. And at the time, that was so much for me. Like I got comments, all this crazy stuff. It was amazing, right? And that's where I fell into my first trap of thinking views equals money. It does not. Because after I posted that one video about Sikhi and like my religion, yeah, I started like popping off a little bit. Started getting some views, and if I'd carried that on, and at the trajectory I was growing at, like I would wake up and I'd have 100 new followers per day on my Instagram. Like every day, 100 followers, 100 followers, 100 followers, 100 followers, completely organically. Same with TikTok. I had videos that would blow up, get a few 100,000 views. I was reaching millions of accounts in Account Center. It was great, or at least it felt great because it felt like my first bit of, okay, something's clicked. But it was the complete wrong thing. I started talking about religion and I started becoming a preacher. When in reality, all I fucking wanted was to have was to just have a business and just make a little bit of money. Quickly realized views equal no money, which was great, right? So then what happened? I started realizing I have no fucking choice. Like I have tried everything, everything I've tried. I've tried to make content. I got somewhat successful at content. Didn't do anything for me. Cold calling did nothing for me. I got a couple of brand deals, like a few. I mean, they're not really brand deals. It's just people asking me for like shout outs for like free stuff. That doesn't make you money. And then what I realized was that, you know what? Maybe I can start teaching people how to make content. And this is what happened. I made my first little bit of money when someone paid me £60 or like $100, let's say, like $80, $70 to show them how I made content. That was a big thing. Like that was like a breakthrough for me, right? And I told my parents and they were happy. They're like, you know what? At least you started to make money. However, after 2 of those clients, I very quickly realized I've only made £120, like $150. And I've grafted so hard. This is not going to work, right? So I guess take this as your first lesson in this entire boot camp. You cannot make the money you want to make by charging fuck all. You know for a fact you are quite literally a fucking nobody, bro. Like, you don't even have, like, even if you have 10,000 followers, you're not gonna make that much money by selling something for something cheap. Like, so you're not gonna make money from selling something cheap. It's not gonna happen, right? And for those of you who fucking stalk me, by the way, yes, I do have a $97 per month Skool community. Is that where all my money comes from? No, bro. That's fucking pennies. I only charge for that Skool community because the people who pay money pay attention. I tried to give people free help and nobody paid attention to me. It doesn't work like that, bro. Okay? So, if you are a nobody, maybe you have a couple of followers, you have to charge a lot of money. Don't let this stupid mindset fool you of like, shit, I have no testimonials or anything like that. How do I charge money? You have to charge money. You just have to. And don't worry, in this boot camp, there's going to be like very tactical help, by the way. It's not going to be all storytelling and stuff like this. This is just for context. And like for you to like prime your brain for what's to come. You have to charge money. And you have to charge good money in order to make good money. When I hit my first 25k month, okay, I was charging $3,000. Right? To you, that sounds like a lot of money. And I guess it is a lot of money, right? But you have to charge big money to make money, bro. That's just the game. Okay? Right now, I'll charge anywhere between $8,000 to $40,000 USD. That's if you want to work directly with me and have my entire team like help you with some stuff, right? And to you that might sound like fucking crazy town. But I cannot get to where I want to get to if I just don't charge good money. Because let me tell you something, and I guess this is lesson number 2. There's going to be little nuggets throughout this entire freestyle video that I'm not going to edit or anything like that. The people who are cheap, the people who are depressing, the people who don't want to pay you any money, those types of people are always fucking poor. Okay? When you try to sell to fucking poor people, what happens is that these motherfuckers make you feel like shit when they're the problem. Does that make sense? Right, I hope this is clicking. Because let me tell you a very real thing as to what happens. You sign on a poor person, even if they pay you like good money, they're not going to do what they tell you to do. They're going to make a fuck ton of excuses. Oh, I feel bad today. Oh, fucking, I had this going on today, blah, 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 right? They make a fuck ton of excuses. And then they blame you for the work not being done. So there's one of two things that happen. Either you get a chargeback, or they ask for a refund, which is so depressing, by the way. Like, it feels like shit when someone disputes a payment, ask for a refund or whatever. Right? You will feel like shit when that happens, because you just about managed to make the money. And secondly, because they're not getting the result, what could happen, or what will happen is, you feel like you are the problem and you are shit at what you do because these guys are just shit people to work with. Right? Rich people are very happy to pay good money and they're easier to handle. Let me tell you something fucking crazy, by the way. With like the actual full-on strategy, like I'm going to show you exactly which button to click. Like, I want to get that granular and that detailed in this entire bootcamp with, like, the ads manager, how to do everything, right? I had a client who paid me 3,000 USD. I met him for the first time. I got on a sales call with him. He paid in full, a piff. That's what you call a paid in full. He piffed for 3,000 USD at the time, and he completely ghosted. He literally just gave me a free 3K, and he just disappeared off the face of the planet for like a good few months. And now, here and there, he'll ask me for like a couple of different favors, which is cool, because that's basically free. I basically made a free 3,000. And this isn't just happened with me. My very first, like, actual good client, right? He also paid me 3K at the time. Shout out to Harry if you're watching. He made 28,000 in top line revenue in his first 30 days of doing this entire thing. That I'm gonna show you exactly how to do, by the way. He had someone pay him 3K as well, and they just disappeared off the face of the planet. He never heard from him again. No chargeback, no dispute, nothing. Right? When you sell to rich people, they do rich people things. Like, they'll pay for shit. Sometimes they won't even, like, some of them will disappear completely, but a lot of them, they'll understand if something goes wrong. They'll understand if something breaks. That's the type of client you want, right? And let me tell you another thing. I got fat. Complete side note. I got very fat because I locked in too hard with the business, and I'm going to show you how you can not lock in that hard with the business and still make a fuck ton of money. Just by the way, it's not that hard, right? And by a fuck ton of money, I mean like 10K a month. Because to you, that's a fuck ton of money. I got fat, going back to my story, and I was looking at like a fitness coach. And in my heart and in my mind, I said, I fucking refuse to work with someone that is charging less than $3,000 for 90 days. Like, you know how when you go to like Boohoo Man, or when you go to ASOS, or when you go to like any type of like fucking website where you can buy stuff online, or when you look at clothes and stuff, or when you look at holidays maybe, you know when you hit filters and you click sort price low to high, so you only look at the cheap stuff first. I was doing the opposite thing. I was completely getting rid of all the cheap options because your price directly reflects the value that you bring. If someone was charging less than $3,000 for 90 days, I refused to entertain them. Refused it, bro. Because I knew for a fact that these guys are underconfident. They're not confident that they can provide like the accountability, the accountability and the leadership that I want. Right? They're not confident in their own plan, because if they knew for a fact that they could change people's lives and make them lose weight and make them feel very strong and very powerful, they wouldn't be charging less than 3K, because that's worth so much more than $3,000. Right? So you need to charge your value and what you're worth. And yes, don't worry, I will walk you through exactly how to increase your perceived value, right? But this is me being very real with you. This is this boot camp is going to be every fucking thing that you need that I learned from getting beat the fuck up inside of business. Like, I got beat up so bad in business, bro. So bad. Like, there have been months where I had like minus 10K. Like, I was like 10K in debt. Not including the student debt that I had, by the way. Like, I got beat up bad in business. And I'm going to make sure that you don't go through the exact same thing, because you are going to be in for such a crazy ride if you try to do this stuff by yourself. Okay? This entire bootcamp will be better than any paid course you can get. Because the reason I say that is because I've gone through these paid courses. I've got a USB drive that I fucking lost. I don't know where it is. I've got a USB drive with like $20,000 worth of courses on there. Useless. All of it's useless, bro. Right? Before I made my first 10K, there were only 2 courses I bought that were somewhat useful. And I'm gonna make those courses better, make it more realistic as to what you can actually do, and then I'm just gonna tell you to do those things step by step in this bootcamp. Okay? Because one thing you need to know is like, yes, you can have the technical skills. That's not hard to find, right? But the secret like plan that you're looking for, the secret plan that you're looking for, the secret hack that you're looking for does not exist. Okay? The only thing that is true is a very consistent plan that you chip away at until it works. That's the only real thing that ever works in business. Okay? And you probably feel like when you're because you're trying to solve this math problem by yourself, like this business problem by yourself, it's like being in school where you don't understand the math question. And then no matter how much you ask the teacher for help or you ask someone else for help, you just don't understand how to solve the question. That is more than likely probably what you're feeling like. And that's so depressing to be in, because it's not a question of will you get a mark on this test, or will you get the question right. It feels like a question of, is my life going to go to waste working a job that I don't want, right? Anyway, I've rambled on for a long time. The key things I need you to know is you need to absolutely make sure, as you go through this boot camp, that everything is psychological. This entire game of business is all your psychology. The more emotionally inconsistent you are, the harder it's going to be and the longer it's going to take. So just practice being emotionally consistent. No, I lied, because you can like consistently be angry or depressed and sad. Don't do that. I want you to practice emotional detachment. Like, learn the skill of it, read up about it, just practice it. Okay? I also want you to understand that if you have imposter syndrome, like you feel nervous and jittery, you're scared of rejection, you feel like you're pretending, you need to get rid of that shit, because the only thing that you should be doing if you want to start a business is selling the stuff that you already know what to sell. Stop doing shit that you've never done before. Okay? You can still be an authority figure. You can still be an authority figure if you know like something. Right? If you went onto Google and you typed in toilet cleaning course, someone has made 40,000 just off teaching people how to clean a toilet. They are the master of cleaning toilets, and they're making more money than you. You just need to be good at something. You don't even need to be a master. Just be good at something. Be competent. Okay? And I'll show you how to build microproof later on in this bootcamp. Right? All I want from you, I want you and me to sign a psychological contract that you're not going to buy another course, you're not going to join another paid community, you're not going to do anything apart from this bootcamp and the things I tell you to do in this bootcamp. There is only going to be one path I want you to go down. I don't want you to pivot anywhere until this bootcamp is complete. And once the bootcamp is complete and you start seeing some type of results, I don't want you to pivot until you hit the first 10K. Okay? Second thing I want you to do is focus on proof over anything else. Do you need a Trustpilot and Google reviews? Not really, you don't. I've got a lot of fucking idiots DMing me saying, I recommend you get Trustpilot and Google reviews. How about you fuck off? No. No, you don't need that shit just yet. Focus on proof. Right? And the type of proof I'm referring to is proof like video testimonials, like interviews with people you've worked with. I'm talking about case studies breaking down exactly what you did in very granular detail. That's the type of proof you need. Because that proof, you actually can't fake it. It's very difficult to fake that. Okay, and I know you might be a skeptic, but trust me, it is so difficult to fake an interview. Because you're able to tell when the energy is off. It's so difficult to fake a full breakdown and case study, especially if you're going into granular detail. Because the people who don't know what you're talking about will never sell, and the people who do know what you're talking about can smell the bullshit from a mile away. Okay? So focus on proof, case studies, video testimonials, actually showing you do the work, okay? The third thing I need you to focus on in this psychological contract we're signing, is that you are, from this point forward, going to focus on nothing but data and numbers, and that's it. Just tracking is all we're going to be doing. Because, newsflash, by the way, marketing is literally just gambling. That's all it is. You're just making bets on what you believe could be the fix. Right? However, to make the most educated, the most likely to win bet, you need to track everything to the T. Like, I track the amount of clicks I get on my videos. And it's written on my ad, and it's written on a Google Sheet. Okay? So, I know exactly what part of my business is broken at all times when it does break, because everything breaks at some point. And I know exactly what I should do to fix it. So from this point forward, you're not going to be emotional. You're going to be extremely, extremely data-driven and data-oriented. The fourth thing is that you're not going to do any morning routine. You're not going to do any of that bullshit that they sell you online. What you're going to do instead is you're going to just do the daily minimum that you have to be doing. Just get the little bit of work done. If you just focus on doing the bare minimum, right? Every single day. Like, if you just focus on the one or two things that you need to do to move the business forward that day and nothing else, you'll outperform everybody. Everybody, I'm telling you. Right? Just focus on the daily minimums and that's it. Don't plan out your week. Don't plan out the next month. Just wake up whenever you wake up, and just complete transparency, I wake up after 12 p.m. Some days I wake up at 2 p.m. and I start working at 4, 5 p.m. I still hit 25k months. I don't have a morning routine. In fact, I wake up and I scroll on my phone for an hour and a half. Like a degenerate, bro. I can still I made 14k last month. Without, like, scaling anything up. Just coasting. Okay? If I really wanted to scale it up, I would just increase my ad spend. But I want to just... I'm at a point in my life where I just want to coast. I don't want to work hard right now. Okay? So, just focus on the daily minimums. Just do what you need to do day in, day out. Okay? And then whenever you feel like you want more money, you just increase the daily minimums. And it's a lot easier than you think it is. It does not correspond with how much effort you need to put in per day. Effort does not correspond with the money you make. Okay? There's no secret sources or anything like that. Now, the next thing that you need to understand, and this is going to fucking annoy some of you guys, is that you need to get a fucking job if you haven't got one already. In order to make money, you need to spend money. And complete transparency, you're going to have to spend money on paid advertising, which is not cheap. You're going to have to spend money on software tools, money on domains, spend money, maybe like buying a microphone. Right? I've got 2 microphones. I have a microphone. This DJI microphone I've got in this case. This cost me $300-400. This microphone is worth $100. This arm stand is worth $50. I've got this light that was like $50 as well. What I'm trying to say is that it costs money to do business. It literally costs money to make money. So don't go into this whole thing, this notion of like, oh yeah, I can do a whole bunch of cold calls, I can make some money for free. No, you can't. You have to spend money to make money. And you have to leave a margin of error because you don't know what you're doing. Okay? So you just get a job so you can have some cash flow. For me, I was working at Nando's to break even with my rent and stuff. Right? Luckily, I had savings. So in the UK, you have a student loan and they give you like a maintenance loan. I saved all of it because I was working at Nando's. I had about £5,000, like $7,000. Just so you know, I burnt 4,500 of that. I only made my first bit of money when I was down to my last $500 because it took me $4,500 worth of fucking around, throwing shit at the wall to see what works. I don't want that for you. So this bootcamp is going to save you all that money that you'll spend. In fact, if you put that in the right things, you'll make a fuck ton more money than I ever made. Okay. So you need a job, and you need a job and you need cash flow. Don't let anyone tell you different. Okay? The final thing I want to tell you is that energy hygiene is a very real thing. Your mental health, your physical health directly correlates with how much money you're going to make. Okay? Never, ever, ever compromise on your mental and physical health. Trust me, I thought I could grind it out, and I remained poor. Every single month where I did not make the money I wanted to make, my gym suffered. Right? Like, the months where I did not make money was because, like, it just so happened that my gym suffered. So, focus on the gym. Right? Mental clarity over everything. Just think about it. If your mental and physical health is good, and physical comes first, by the way, fix your physical health first, your mental health will soon follow. If your mental health is dog shit, by the way, right? If you fix your physical and by extension then your mental health, you're going to make better decisions. If you can make better decisions, you will make better business decisions. And if you make better business decisions, you'll make more money. Okay? So those are all the things. This entire video was a psychological contract that you are going to commit to this bootcamp, and you're going to do nothing else but this bootcamp. I'm not gonna cut out my mistakes in this video. You're going to get the absolute raw video. I fucked up a couple of times earlier. I don't care. This bootcamp is going to be everything you need. And I will go very in detailed and very granular with the exact type of stuff that I did, including things like setting up a metapixel, how to set that up, right? Talking about how to run your paid ads, the things you need, the things you don't really need, all that stuff so you save money. So welcome to this bootcamp. I love you. I'm only making this for you because I genuinely don't want anyone else to struggle like I did. Please just do the bootcamp.